Alright y'all, welcome back to Common Arms channel. Now in today's video I'm going to be reacting to a few brothers of mine, particularly the Recon Marines. Now if you don't know too much about the Marine Corps, basically the Recon Marines are our top tier infantrymen, not including Marine Raiders, which sort of goes into the special operations realm. But Recon Marines are very solid. They have a pretty grueling selection process. You need to be a very good swimmer, which is why I definitely wasn't cut out to being a Recon Marine. But yeah, they're very solid dudes. I've worked with a few of them. I've done force on force with them and whatnot. So I've seen how they work very well as a unit. They have very awesome equipment. They have good tactics overall. And in this video, I'm going to be reacting to their close quarters tactics. So if you're not familiar with my background, I was in the recapture tactics team. So I did go through the Marine Corps close quarter battle school in Virginia, and it was pretty rough. It was a pretty difficult course, but I learned a whole lot. And being in my unit, I learned even more, and I was able to grow on that. So close quarter battle is a big passion of mine. So in this video, I want to see some Recon Marines doing some of their close quarter battle training and see how it really stacks up compared to stuff that I've done, see how their tactics are, and see how they work as a team in general. So I'm pretty interested. Check it out. Now, I haven't been able to be on the outside looking in on the Recon Marines doing their close quarter battle training. Again, I was just fighting against them. So you can sort of pick up a little bit from that, but it's a lot easier to sort of look at a video and look at overhead and whatnot. So without further ado, let's get it started. Okay, so I'm going to be stopping it a lot. I'll just say that right now. Basically, in this video, I'm going to piece it down. I'm going to break it down and talk about each thing that I see. Something that looks good, something that looks bad, I'll just let you know. So in this, you see they did an explosive breach. It wasn't, with an explosive breach, it doesn't like blow down the door like you always see in movies. Sometimes it'll just blow the lock and you'll still have to open the door yourself. So it was good that you saw the one Marine pie off the doorway, which is basically when he sweeps across the doorway just to get a good look inside the room. But the door wasn't open, and you saw the other dude on the other side open the door himself and then go in. Now, generally, that's not what you want to do. The person opening the door is going to be, maybe the third person in the room, the fourth person in the room. So if you're opening the door, you want someone else to actually be going in, not you opening the door and then you go into the room as well. Just because your hand's not on your weapon, it just gets a little bit sloppy and it can get pretty dangerous. All right, so they went to their positions were very solid inside the room. You can see he was trying to control them. I'm not sure if they didn't see if he was an occupant or a threat. If it's an occupant, you would try and control them, tell them to show them your hands or get down, or just you would try and control it just to minimize them. But if it is a threat, you would engage. And as you can see, they were engaging. And a lot of times you'll see people do like 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, or what have you. But with CQB, it's fine if you just want to dump like 5-6 rounds to their chest very quickly. That's totally acceptable and it's recommended in a lot of different units. Again, we did see the one man open the door and then go in, but the 2 man was right behind him. There was no gap, so that was very solid. And you can see the 2 men actually stopped before actually going across that open doorway, which is very good. You never want to go across an open danger area like that. Okay, so that's cool if he wants to pie across the open doorway like that, but you don't want to have your back to another open doorway. So the other person that was on the other door, what he could have done is pie it off as well, just to give his buddy a little bit of body armor protection. Sometimes you might not always pick up on that. Sometimes you'll get tunnel vision on your danger area. You don't want to look around too much, and that's totally acceptable. But you just have to make it as safe as possible for yourself and your buddies. And I don't know if there was no more danger areas when he actually pied across. You can see he turned around and gave a command. I'm guessing there wasn't anything else, but if there was something else like another doorway, you wouldn't want to turn around just because that split second someone might pop out. So I don't know the situation, but it's nothing too crazy so far. Okay, so we're going to look at that again. So you can see the one man, he pushes towards the edge of the room, which is totally fine. If you want to take that as your corner, that's cool. But for that second man, he needs to push in a little bit more just so we can get more guns into the fight. And then you see that one man, he crosses in front of the two man. So the two man has to drop his muzzle, and then he ends up engaging the same target that he just shot. Now that is fine if you're doing training to just engage targets multiple times just to get the repetitions in, but you don't want to do a whole lot of crisscrossing, especially the one man should not cross in front of the two man's muzzle at any point. If he is, he needs to communicate that, or they need to do something to make sure that no one's flagging anyone else or shooting past anyone else, because that can get very sketchy. Okay, and then you can see the one man, he crossed over and started shooting at that target in the corner. Now, ideally, the two man would have, when he went in, would have immediately looked to the right, because he didn't really have too much of a corner. He didn't have any real estate. So he could have swept his rifle to the right, cleared that corner, and then swept the rest of the room like the one man's doing right now. It just would have made things a little bit quicker. And now you can see they have a target with body armor. Now, if you have a target with body armor, you don't want to engage really quick. You don't want to do 5 or 6 rounds into the body armor. At that point, you need to let everyone know that the enemy has body armor. So if they possess body armor, you need to let everyone know so they can start doing headshots. So it's cool if you want to do a couple rounds to the chest just to make sure that they're not really shooting at you too much. But you need to get those headshots in, because you don't want to be sending 5 rounds into someone's body armor and somehow they're not incapacitated at that point. So it's just something to keep in mind. A lot of units won't really specify that specifically, but it is definitely something to keep in mind. So again, we have the one man opening the door himself and then putting his rifle up. So what you would not want to do is open the door and then just see someone pointing an AK at you or something. So the dude who actually has a GoPro here, what he could have done is open the door for him, because he was going to be first exposed into that room. Just open the door for him, and then he can engage and flow in whenever he feels it's safe enough. So that was very good. Engaging outside the room is totally fine. If you want to engage in the doorway, that's totally acceptable. They communicated that they were going to, enter the room. So he said, moving, move. He flowed in. The other dude went to the other corner. He actually cleared out his corner. You can see they did a little bit of a crisscross is basically what that's called. And he cleared out his corner, engaged the target again. That's totally fine. And yeah, so that was very solid. I have no issues with that. Again, very solid. It was a little bit better that time because you can see the person wearing the GoPro. He opened the door for him, and it was just a little bit smoother. They did their crisscross. He made sure he got his corner, took out that person, and now you can see he's not going past that target. He's not losing that target out of his peripheral vision, because you can see that they're actually doing their dead checks, which is very good. Dead check is basically just you making sure that the person's actually down. Before you start walking away from them or losing them out of your sight, because that can get a little bit sketchy. Okay, so that was good. They got their corners, no issues there. Now, this looks like an initial entry, and when you're doing an initial entry, it's always good to push 4 people because you want to make sure you get a foothold inside that building. But you never want to push. You can see they're pushing 6, 7 operators. You don't really want to do that until you know you have a good idea. So if you start sending like 5, 6 people and all of a sudden there's a bunch of open doors, it can get a little bit sketchy. So just wait for the first 4 to announce that it's clear, and then you can start sending people in once you start actually locking down those danger areas. Okay, so there's a little bit of hesitation. No biggie. It is training, so they need to get that communication down. But you can see the dude swung the door open. Again, you don't want to swing the door open and just look inside the room and have someone aiming a gun at you. So always try and have the other person on the other side open the door for you. But yeah, if they were shooting outside the room, they're making entry. Nothing too crazy. So I like how they're being very violent. That's awesome when you're doing close quarter battle because you want speed, surprise, and violence when you're working in a close quarter battle environment. And if you don't really have the element of surprise anymore, you can at least be violent because it's definitely gonna knock people on their asses if you have a very violent assault force actually coming towards you. It's going to make you shake in your boots a little bit. So they're definitely violent, which I can appreciate. It looks like they're pushing a little more people than you normally would. Normally it would be 2 or 3 men entry once you're actually inside the enclosure, but they're pushing maybe 4 or 5. I think it's just so they can keep the flow going. Not too bad as long as it's not getting congested. In this video, it's not looking like it's getting too congested, so that's good. Okay, and the one thing there, you did see that one Marine push past the doorway. I'm not sure if the doorway was out of play, because sometimes when you're doing training, they'll mark a door out of play, and you can blow past it at that point. But if it was in play, you don't want to blow past the doorway like that. You want to have someone at least holding their rifle on it in case someone does open the door and start firing inside your room. All right, so a little bit of hesitation. Now, if you're going to pop around a corner, that's totally fine. It's called a one-man barricade, but you only want to expose literally like your head and your firearm. So what you can do is push your foot out as much as you can without exposing it, and at the last second, put your foot out a little bit more while actually rotating at the hips and getting your weapon and your head around the corner, just so you're not overexposing too much. And if you are that one man who's about to go down the hallway, you never want to look back because, I mean, it sounds crazy, but it could happen where you look back for a split second, you look back, and there's someone that just popped outside the room, and now he's going to be shooting into your entire stack, and that's not going to be a good day. And yeah, that last little shot was good because you can see their kit is very streamlined, which is awesome for close quarter battle. You don't want anything snagging. You can see the breaching tools on his back. It wasn't just like sometimes you'll see people with breaching equipment and it's just like hung on with like paracord, and you'll have like breaching tools just flapping all around your back and throwing you off balance. So they had like weapon catches for their breaching equipment, so that was very solid. You always want to make sure your kit is streamlined in a close quarter battle environment. But yeah, Recon Marines, again, I can't really talk smack on them. They're very awesome dudes. They're very well trained, and they're very well disciplined too. So you can see they were very aggressive, which is very good in close quarter battle. The tactics, again, it is training. There are certain nuances compared to certain units. And now the fundamentals look pretty solid. It's just small things here and there that can just make it a little bit better and a little bit safer for everyone else. So again, it's just nitpicking at this point. But Recon Marines, awesome dudes. If I could do some training with them right now, I would love to. You can never really do too much close quarter battle training. I mean, I'd like to think that I'm an expert with it, but I'm far from an expert. There's definitely people that have done way more CQB than me and just have way more experience. And, you know, you can refine things here and there, but at the end of the day, if you know the fundamentals, if you're violent, then you're gonna be pretty well off when you're going to a CQB environment. So yeah, very cool video. I love doing these little videos where I can sort of look how different units are doing things. And close quarter battle is a big passion of mine, as you all might know. So yeah, it's very fun to check these videos out. If you have any other recommendations, especially for close quarter battle stuff, definitely let me know. Throw it in the comments and I'll check it out. But yeah, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It definitely helps me out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you all in the next one.